Hello there, you guys. This is a message that I felt guided to share with you guys, mainly women, because I feel like I need to speak to my women. And I know this is a reading channel, but it's also a spiritual channel, is what I would like to call it, and my channel. So I, you know, control the content on my channel. So I wanted to share this. Yes, it may be explicit to some or touchy. Um, so if you are offended by sexual content, don't watch it. Under the age where you should not even be listening to this type of content, um, I would suggest not to watch it. So I wouldn't call this really educational. It's just sharing my beliefs and what I feel like resonates with me. And just felt guided to share this. So for any women out there who I feel like are vulnerable, who have not had sex in a long time, bored with sex or bored with your partner that you're with sexually, or just seeking sex, feel lonely, just want something. Be very mindful being in this state because, there's dogs out here. We call them dogs, but really they're like energy vampires. I call them like pussy vultures, and I don't want to be too explicit, but they can sense vulnerability from a mile away. A woman that they can control or dominate through sex, that are seeking that passion, that seeking that fire. So I just came across an article, and it just really hit me because this is something that I've believed, and I kind of just, over glance, didn't really think too much into it. But I was just looking up something, sexual. It just came to my head, like, what is it about, a man that has to, what they like to say, hit the bottom, pretty much hitting your cervix. Like, what is it about that? And it took me to this article that this woman had wrote, and pretty much saying that when a man does that, he's, where our woman parts, our vagina is a portal. It's a spiritual portal. So anytime that a man like goes in, you're opening up your space to him, you're opening up your energy to him, you're exchanging energies between each other. But once he hits that bottom, it's like, as the article explained, she said it hits your spinal cord, which is connected to the brain. And I get that. And when she said that, it really made sense. Because think about this. When you let a man come into your portal and you're not mindful and careful of the exchange, it's not frivolous, it's not fun sex. It's just like you kind of get caught up in the moment with someone, and you lose yourself with someone. Especially a man, you have to be very careful with a man that's not, your partner. It's someone that you just date casually or just have met. Um, you can easily get lost and slip up. So just think about it this way. When this man, like you're having sex, you already start to think and have feelings sometimes. Depends on the man's energy. If he's powerful enough, he can control your mind, okay? Especially if you find yourself, being put in all these crazy positions, and he's doing this, he's doing that with his body, and you can lose yourself. Because this man is tapping into your subconscious, especially when he hits the bottom and you allow him to go deep, 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 deep inside of you. You allow this person to tap into your subconscious mind. And that's where you fuck up, because it's like this person pretty much starts to program your mind a little bit. So if you've ever been in a relationship where you've had good sex with someone that is just not good for you, this man was a piece of shit, a dog, cheated on you, beat you, was a, no good man, and you just was like, well, the sex is good. You just lost your mind and just let this person do whatever he wanted to you. And I can say that I've been in some relationships because of that, that I shouldn't have been in for 6 years, just because of that element. That's all we really had. And I had girlfriends that almost died over that. Like, they had abusive men and they stayed with them because of the sex. And it's powerful. But for me, what I would say is never, ever, because this is like some of women's favorite position, and men's too. They like to do doggy style or hit it from the back, as we call it. And that's like a no-no for me. I feel like that's showing you that you're submitting to that man. You're allowing this man to lead you. when you do that. And it's not that you shouldn't do that position. I feel like you shouldn't do it with a man that you're not spiritually sure that you guys are on the same level, or that this person even has the power to lead you. He can lead you, but he might lead you to destruction. He might lead you to losing yourself, keying up his car, checking on him, stalking him, harming yourself, losing yourself over him. He can lead you that way. Never, get down on your knees either for a man. Give him head, because it's like you're giving him your mind. It's like you guys, sex is a spiritual act within itself. You have to really think about this. And it's not that God or spirit, whatever, is telling you not to do these things. They're telling you to be mindful of who you're exchanging your energy with. Because all of these things have a meaning. If you guys don't have a healthy spiritual bond with this person, and that person, you're not in an established relationship with them, that they're not claiming you as their partner, you're setting yourself up for failure. That's why a lot of times women just lose themselves. They get caught up. They get sad and depressed over some no good ass man. And it's because of the penis power that he had, and you gave him that power. No man has a power, only what you give them. Especially when they enter you, you give them that key to go within, But they access the deepest parts of your mind, and they start to control you. You start thinking like them, acting out like them, might even start looking like them. Sometimes that happens too. And I can say by example that I know this for a fact. Like, this has happened to me. This has happened to other people, Also, another thing, don't call out a man's name while you're having sex either, because that's like programming. Like I said, unless that's your husband, or unless that's that you feel like that's your partner, you guys are spiritually connected on a deep level, it's healthy, it's divine, you guys are on the same page, that man respects you. Otherwise, calling out some dog's name, you're giving him that program in his head that he owns you. And you're putting that in your subconscious that he owns me. Calling him Poppy, calling him Daddy, that too. You're giving him that power to manipulate you and control you, tell you what to do. Have you guys ever noticed when you're in bed with a man that's no good, and you call his name out, or he's asking you whose is it, and you say it's his? You give him power to manipulate you and control you, and they use that energy. They do it. They tell you what not to wear. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? You can't do this. They start to control you. They start to control the relationship. You give up your power doing those things, because it's like you're programming your mind. You're programming his mind to believe that he owns me, I own her. Okay? It's real, you guys. It's like you guys have to be very careful, especially when engaging in these acts with someone who isn't your partner, or someone that you don't have that healthy bond with. You have to be very careful. And it's easy for women to get like bored with the good men, because the good men, they're usually not the type that they're not the type that does all of that freaky wild stuff. They're not into crazy stuff, because they're not. Usually, I would say, a dog 9 times out of 10 wants to control a woman. They seek out, not, I don't want to say weak women, because I don't believe that we're weak. We give our power away to men. That's the part that makes us weak, but we're not really weak. We're powerful. But they seek out the women that are at their most vulnerable state, and those are the ones that they can get their car, get their house, their credit cards, get them to do this, get them to do that. She's insecure. She doesn't think highly of herself. She thinks she's fat, or she can't get a man because she's heavier. She can't get a man because she has kids. She can't do this. She's lonely. She hasn't had nobody in months, blah, blah, blah. So they sense that energy, or they know that about you. So what do? They call it dick her down. That's what they do. And that's where you lose your mind. You start giving up your car keys. You start giving them access to your accounts. You start, just doing a lot, doing things that you wouldn't do. And Spirit is telling you that it's very important, because I feel like a lot of my viewers and a lot of women that seek guidance about love, they're hopeless romantics. They're seeking for a soulmate. They're seeking for a partner, and they fall victim to these types of men all the time. I can get into men in relationships with women that are like what they call like succubus or things like that, if you want to call it that. but I'm talking about the men right now with, women dealing with men. And I feel like we have to be very careful and very mindful of who we attract, because we can attract even the man that comes through smooth and like a gentleman and is nice. You'll start to see signs of ownership. Like if any man wants to own you, like tries any like language of ownership, be very careful of that man. And I had a situation like this. I started to notice that, like, in our conversation, he would always say mine or I'm his and all this stuff, kind of like ownership. And like the sex would be very dominant. Like you'll notice that these men, they're not love makers. They're not smooth with it usually. They're like beat it up types. They're very aggressive, very strong. It's like a dominant thing. And they usually like to go really deep inside of you, or they like to hit it from the back all the time, or they ask you for head all of the time. And there's nothing wrong with these acts, like I'm saying, you guys, but it's the person connected to that. It's the energy within that person that you got to be careful about, that exchange between you and this person. I feel. I just wanted to put that out there. For some reason, I felt guided to share this information or whatever. But one thing that I can say, like, to protect your energy, is rose quartz are very, very powerful. You know, some people do the whole yoni egg things. I've never done that. Yoni, whatever. I haven't done that before, but people do that. You might want to do that. They have, like, they're kind of like, I wouldn't say dildos, but they're like sex toys, but they're used for healing purposes. They're called chakra rugs, and they come in like different healing stones. Rose quartz might, doing that helps you heal that energy within your womb that's seeking that desperation or seeking that dog, clears that energy from that dog coming into your life. Even if you're dealing with one, it might make him just go ghost. But you start to honor and protect your private more. Or you can wear these rose quartz. You can put them in your underwear. I used to do that. You can wear rose quartz in your underwear. Rose oil, I heard, is good for protecting your energy from the wrong partners, okay? So be very careful of that. And then the thing is, though, when you're doing this energy protection, you're still going to attract lower vibrational men, but your discernment picks that up, like what his ultimate goal is. So they can masquerade themselves as good men. That happens too. They're not all thugs. They're not all like player types. They'll come in the form as good guys, but you got to pay attention to their actions. You got to pay attention to the vibes you pick up, the things that they say. But not that you should be looking for the bad, but just be vigilant. You know what's best for you. You're an adult. You have your free will choice, but I just felt guided to share this with you ladies out there, because sex has power. It's a beautiful energy. It's a powerful, creative energy, but sometimes you can give that energy away to the wrong people. And like I said, I know this firsthand from my own personal experience and experience with other people I know. If you give that power away and you let that man's power, because there's men with some powerful sticks too. They have the power to be a magician. I feel like it's a magician energy. As above, so below. They try to do something, spiritually, they can bring it down to the physical. If you let them in your portal, all hell can break loose with that type of man. You'll start cutting your hair like I did. You'll go crazy, jealous, possessive, depressed, hate yourself, wanting to harm yourself. Some of you will let this man put their hands on you, cheat on you in front of you, but you'll still go back. And I guarantee you that man, you probably label him as the best sex you ever had. And when you think about him, probably pulsate down there every now and then. That's an indicator too. And it's not that your soulmate can't be bomb in bed or can't be, give it to you in the way that this other, the dog can, but 9 times out of 10 women, we fall for that. Women can't lie. You guys can't lie. We fall for that bad boy, that dog. We fall for that. And sometimes they won't even be about anything. Like they're not even about anything. They might not have their own, they might not have a job. They might not even be what you would call quote unquote attractive or good looking. Sometimes they'll be broke down, but it's just something about his energy that he radiates. So you always want to be, that's why it's very important to love yourself. That's why it's very important to ground yourself, to know who you are, know your value, know your treasure, because you won't attract the opposite of that, that seeks to destroy that. You know what I mean? When you're whole within yourself, you attract another whole individual who knows their worth, and they're not out here just throwing their dick around and everything and everybody. At least unless it's, just an experience, blah blah blah. I'm having sex. It's nothing, I'm not seeking to destroy. I'm just getting off, blah blah blah. But even then, you have to be careful about the seeds you throw out there with different people. So it's not that you shouldn't have sex. It's just being mindful of the sex that you're having and who you're having it with. That makes sense. So I don't mean to rant on, you guys. I'm gonna stop here because this is like my most like reading. So I mean, not even reading, just like talk. Call it girl talk. If men are watching, I don't know why you're watching, but maybe there's a reason why, or listening to this message. But that's my take, ladies. You don't have to believe it. This is my belief. This is just what I've gathered. So you may resonate with it or you may not. We all have our own beliefs, and that's fine. We're meant to. We're not all meant to be sheep and be all in formation with the other person. That's never healthy. But we all resonate together in some way, if not at all. So yeah, I hope I didn't offend anybody. These are, like I said, these are my beliefs. But I felt guided to share that. All right, you guys. Much love to you, much peace, much healing to you. Many blessings as always. Until the next, I don't know if I'm ever going to do anything like this again, but until the next message and reading, peace.